IDEA comes equipped with over 100 built-in functions to help with exception testing. In this exercise, we'll look at how to access these functions and use one to test for transactions which happened on a Sunday. To start, open the Sales Transactions database, ensure data is selected in the Properties window, and that no criteria are in place. Click the Analysis tab, and then click Direct in the Extract group. Call the new database Sunday Transactions, or something similar, and then click the Equation Editor button. We looked at the Equation Editor earlier when entering a direct extraction, but the Equation Editor also gives you access to all the built-in functions in IDEA. If you expand the date-time grouping, you can see all the functions which pertain to date and time analysis. We are searching for all transactions on a Sunday, so we need to isolate a specific day of the week. The @DOW, or Day of Week function, will do this for us. When you select DOW in the list, it activates the help for this function as well. Double-click DOW to enter it in the equation box. The syntax line is now active and prompting us to provide a date parameter to evaluate. Enter the transaction date in the equation. Now I want to evaluate each entry to see which transactions actually took place on a Sunday. According to the first paragraph of the help, Sunday is equal to 1. So I write that into the equation as well. Validate the equation and exit. You are returned to the Direct Extraction dialog box. Click OK to run the equation. The new database should have 90 records. IDEA is equipped with a powerful and easy-to-use tool for designing reports. To illustrate, I'm going to build a report based on the Sales Transactions database, so start by opening that file and ensure data is selected in the Properties window. Then, on the File tab, click Print and then select Create Report. This is the Report Assistant. You'll see you have lots of options for how to set up your report, and the wizard will walk you through the process. So I'm going to start by creating a new report, and I'm going to allow headings to span multiple lines. Then I will click Next. And in this window, you can edit how each of the field headers will look in the report. I'm going to change some and leave others so you can see what they do. So I'll start by changing INVNO to actually typing out invoice number. And I'll do the same thing for trans date. Replace that with transaction date. And when that's complete, I'll click Next. And this window allows me to define how and where my data will break. I want to break mine on customer number and on transaction date. So I start by selecting customer number and then transaction date. And transaction date, I'm actually going to order in descending. Now this I can format the breaks. So in this window, the report is breaking on customer, which means the data will be grouped and divided by customer. I'm opting to count records, to show a break line, and to have 3 lines of spacing around that break. I'm going to total the transactions by amount, show shading, and use a currency symbol. Remember that the currency symbol comes from your regional settings, so your report may not look exactly like mine. When that's finished, click Next. Then you have an option to select which field to total for grand totals. Select Amount and then click Next. And finally, there is details you can add for a title page if you wish. You enter the report title, any comments, your name or department in the Prepared By field, and any particular header or footer you want to see on the cover page. And when this is complete, click Finish. And then you can preview the report. And let's have a look at what some of these options do. Click the next page on the toolbar to see the first page of the report data. Have a look at the field headers. See invoice number written out, transaction date written out, a little more indicative of what the content is than the actual file names, or field names, sorry, from the data set. At the bottom of each grouping, there's a line separating each customer group and a subtotal per customer. And then once you've explored your report, have a look at what's in it, and when you're finished, you can close it. Throughout this tutorial series, you've seen clickable links in the data. You can also create these yourself to customize the lookup functionality in IDEA. To start, open the customer file. Right-click any record in the customer number field and select Define Action field. The section option which reads Create Action Link to display Extraction Preview should be selected by default. Next, you need to indicate which database you want to reference and search for related data. Click the Browse button and select Summarize Transactions. Next, click Lookup Fields. This is the same idea as defining a field to join on when joining databases. In other words, which field provides the relationship between the databases. The first thing IDEA does is provide a list of fields which cannot act as lookup fields because they do not appear in both databases. This is for your information only, so click OK. The next screen shows you which fields are common. In this case, only one option is left, customer number. Click OK to return to the Define Action Field dialog and click OK to run the operation. All the values in the customer number field are now hyperlinks and will display related information from the Summarized Transactions database. Click the first record to see that Diane Burrows has a balance of $175.75 from her one transaction. When you're finished, click Done to close that, and then you can finish by closing the file.